So let's get on our feet and bring out Marc Ronick, our host. Come on up, Marc. Great job. I'm going to say more, but they love you so much, they already stood up. Great job. I'm going to say more, but they love you so much, they already stood up.
Thank you, guys. Really, thank you. All right. So, and thank you again for that. And thank you for being here, too. It means the world to me. First, I just want to take a second. If you didn't know, today is the 1-year anniversary. Sorry, that makes me emotional. Of the Hurricane Helene, which went through my hometown, Asheville. And it was a pretty crazy time. And one thing that we noticed was the resilience of a community. And I just want to honor that community and what all of Western North Carolina and other areas went through. So, yeah, just let's take that resilience and bring it into what we're doing today and this weekend to honor what some people who've lost their lives, lost their homes, lost their businesses. So, yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge that. I also want to acknowledge our partners, our sponsors, PodFest. I want to look, because if I mess this up, I'll be really pissed at myself. PodFest, PodMatch, PodPage. Anyone hearing a theme there? Sure, and also the Professional Podcasters Association. And if you haven't noticed yet, you have a chance to win an MV7 Shure microphone. So make sure you're scanning the QR codes where you see them and enter to win that. Riverside for last night, and if you see those T-shirts out in the hallway, grab one. Whatever's left, they're yours. And I also want to thank both Rich Perry Coaching and Bomb Track Media for sponsoring our 2 tracks for today. That's Jason Sircone and Rich Perry. And I also have to thank Junaid Ahmed over there, who's been capturing all this video. I mean, like this genuinely does take a village, and there are a lot of people that helped out, and I will mention them as well. But I do have to shout out Junaid, because I went from, I don't know, what was it, Junaid, 2-3 weeks ago we figured this out, from not having any of what you're seeing in here to this. I mean, this is as professional as, I didn't have any expectation for this, so thank you, Junaid, for that. Also, as far as the team goes, I did just mention Bomb Track Media, Jason Sircone. I just mentioned Rich Perry from Rich Perry Coaching. They were also a huge part of the team to make this happen. And it's awesome to get the kudos, and I appreciate what Chris said, and I appreciate the applause, but that wasn't really all mine. That this team did an unbelievable job, and Jason and Rich really came through and really helped keep this thing together. So thank you for that. Also, I want to shout out Jonathan Howard, Megan Shields, Nick Nallback, all part of the team. Megan Shields being our boots on the ground, as I call her. I was thinking about it the other night. I think I should just call you Boots from now on. I mean, I always say our boots on the ground, so I think I'm just calling you Boots. And Nick helping us with the tech, and Jonathan with the social media. And I also, before I recognize 2 more people, I do want to shout out Lloyd George, who's here. Lloyd helped me put this on last year. And the ironic part, no pun intended, the ironic part is that the day came last year, it was the end of June, and Lloyd called me and said, "Hey, I got some news for you. I got COVID." So he couldn't come to this event that he actually was a huge part of making happen. So I don't know what things would have looked like today if we would have been here today, if it wasn't for Lloyd George calling me and saying, "Mark, I really want to help you do this. I really want to make this vision come to life." So thank you. And thank you for being here. We'll hear from Lloyd later today. And Andrea, oh, there she is, okay. Andrea is the operations manager at my company, Ironic Media, and if it wasn't for Andrea, we would not be here today. She really handled all the details, and I couldn't be more grateful, so thank you, Andrea. And you can check out her website, webie.ai. Check out her stuff. And of course, also have to recognize my wife, Amy. Let me tell you, if you're not married to a transformational life coach, don't put on an event like this, okay? Because she really kept it together for me. I was a wreck, and I'll explain a little more in a minute, but this was a real process, setting this whole thing up, and I'll get into it. But I want to just say my wife, Amy, the real MVP tonight, so thank you. And I do want to give a few minutes over to my friend Johnny. He's the one that created these awesome journals that you have in front of you. If you were here last year, you know they were a big hit, and they're even better this year. And Johnny's also been somebody really supportive of this journey for me personally, and I really appreciate it and grateful for you. And he's going to tell you, just take a couple minutes just to tell you a little bit about how to get the best out of this journal. So, Johnny, take it away. Johnny Gregorio.
Good morning. So when I approached Mark about this year's planner or conference journal of what would you like differently this year, right, than last year, and he said the whole heart behind it was it's not about me, it's not about us, it's all about them. It's all about the people who are coming to this conference. It's all about the speakers. It's all about the sponsors who helped put it together. And one of the requests he had was pictures. And he shared an album with me of a number of different pictures. And we went through, and we wish we could feature everybody that was here last year in this planner. We kind of did on the cover, right? We kind of got a lot of the people that were able to come. But in seeing that, there was this real principle of leadership, of selfless leadership. Like, what do you want, Mark? He's like, I don't know. It's not about me. What do they want? It's like, well, let's feature them, right? Let's put them in the planner this year. And then last night, I was talking with Jana Swan, who spoke here yesterday, and asked her about it. And she was like, I don't know, Johnny. It wasn't about me. It was about them. So I look at this leadership when I'm going to Mark, who's the founder of this, and he's like, yeah, it's not about me. I go to the speaker level, right? The speakers are like, yeah, it's not about me, right? So then I think of all of the people that are coming to this conference, and they have podcasts, or they aspire to have podcasts. And I can't help but think that there might be a similar principle when approaching each of you about your podcast, and you're like, I don't know. It's actually all about the people, about my community. It's about the people who listen to the podcast. So it was just something that I wanted to share. It was an observation. And I believe that starts with observing and actually listening to each of the people that you directly influence through the platforms that you each have. And it was really born out of this like heart-centered place. So I'll take a minute or so. It's going to be super quick just to talk about the planner, the journal/planner that you have in front of you. So the way it has been designed is to have a goal for the conference. And there is a way to set a goal that it'll walk you through on page 6 and 7. And the question becomes, if we're standing here tomorrow, if we're talking over at breakfast tomorrow, and I were to ask you, how did the conference go? and you were to say, amazing, what one thing would have to happen today in order for you to be able to say that? And it could be a connection you'd like to meet. It could be something you'd like to learn. It could be, hey, I have got a lot of fear in doing this. And that could mean that you want to connect with other people in the space to help dissipate your fear, get more information. Whatever your goal is, there's nothing right or wrong about. This is all an invitation. This whole thing, you don't have to use this. You could use your phone. You could use whatever you have. If you have your goal, the way to use this is the majority of these pages are dedicated to attending the sessions, taking notes, being able to write down the title of the session, the speaker so you could remember it, and then using the space to note down any questions that come up for you so that you could continue to be present with each of the conversations that are had today. And then towards the end of each session, figuring out, is there something you'd like to implement? You're going to receive so much information today, and it can be overwhelming. And this is all structured in a way as a tool to help you simplify what to implement. There's one last section that I'd like to note. So as you go through this and you get towards the end, there is a post-conference implementation. So it helps you break down what you'd like to implement into your podcast business, into your life that you learned this week. Because all the ideas are going to be great, the energy is going to be high, and how do we capture that and continue on and implement it into what you guys are already doing. The last part we'll note is the yearbook section. So in the same way that we used to have, yes, we love the yearbook, right? So if you're standing in the hallway or you'd like to connect with someone and you have no idea where to start, you can approach them and ask them to sign your yearbook. It's as simple as that. So this is a tool that you can use throughout today to help empower you to have the best experience that you're able to this weekend. So thank you so much for letting me come up and have a couple words. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. All right. I'm clearing my throat, Jane. I think my throat chakra is a little, yeah. Okay. And actually, speaking of Jane, I really enjoyed her presentation yesterday. And in the spirit of that, if you all don't mind to close your eyes for a second, I appreciate, obviously, what Johnny has done. It is about, really setting your goal. And I want you to take a second to set your intention for today. And more importantly, maybe think about how you want to feel today and how you want to feel when you leave here. We all often create these tangible goals and we skip the part about how we want to feel. So take a second just to think about that. Regardless of your goal, do you want to feel excited? Do you want to feel empowered? And what does that feel like to you? What does excitement feel? What does empowerment feel to you? What does it mean to you? And please hold on to that. Lock that in, as Jana said yesterday. Listen to that Tupperware snap, right? Seal that in, lock that in, and let's feel that together today. You can open your eyes. Thank you for doing that with me. So last year, I stood in front of a lot of you and talked about I wanted to create this conference to be a place of belonging. People feel like these are my people, this is my place. And this year, I want to think about, because that message still matters, I want you to think about, like, what's next from belonging, right? It's great that we all feel like we belong and we feel connected to each other. What's next? And to me, you belong and you become, right? You grow into the next version of yourself. and I'm just going to hold this in front of me. I'm going to admit something to you guys. Putting on a conference, as Chris said, is a lot. And my opening remarks was probably last on my priority list. So I do have to look at my notes, and I was agonizing about that when I was talking to my wife about it, because I didn't want to do that. I want to be that Tony Robbins and talk to you all and do all the things, right? But it's just not in the cards today. So, and we'll get into a little bit of that too. So how do you become? Becoming takes something that we've all heard a million times, a certain word that we've heard a million times. And that word is authenticity. And yeah, I think I might have seen a couple of eye rolls there, because I get it. Authenticity, to a lot of people anyway, it has become a big buzzword. And it's, to some people, it's nails on a chalkboard. I've kind of deemed it as, nobody get too triggered. I kind of deem it as the moist of personal development words. But the truth of the matter is that there isn't a better word for authenticity. I can't think of something better than what it actually means. It's just the most appropriate word. And when I'm talking about authenticity, I'm being authentic with you right now, right? Like, I can't do the Tony Robbins thing, and that's why I'm using my notes. But what does it mean to me? What does authenticity mean to you? Anybody? Truth, being yourself, being real, knowing who you are, unscripted. I agree wholeheartedly. And I'll add to it, I think it also means being messy, right? Imperfect, right? Like, it's still a lesson that I'm teaching myself, because even some of the little details through this weekend, if they weren't quite right, I occasionally would lose my shit for no real good reason, because it all ends up working out. But so obviously I've expressed that the conference has been a little stressful for me, and there are lots of different reasons why. Ticket sales were slow. It took a while to get people. What the hell is wrong with some of you? Why do you wait until the day before or the week before and give me a lot of these gray hairs? I mean, the truth of the matter is, and I've shared this on the Podcasting Morning Chat one morning recently. Truth of the matter is probably 6-8 weeks ago, only 20 of you had bought tickets. And yeah, Tim, you may have been one of the very first. And thank you for that. Thank you. Yeah, I'll give Tim a round of applause. All right, I'm going to stop pretending, and I'm just going to look at my notes a little more closely, okay? I also found myself comparing myself to a lot of the conferences out there. The ones that have hundreds and hundreds of attendees and the budget the size of a small country. We didn't have that, and I got a little caught up in that. But if I'm honest, that wasn't really the hardest part. The hardest part was actually me. And I've been really open about, this year especially, I've been really open about having ADHD. And long story short, early this year, I've been taking medication now probably for about 20 years. And at the beginning of the year, I had to stop for medical reasons. My blood pressure was going through the roof. And no, not because of this conference. This is before all the heavy planning. And I suspected it might be because of my medication. And my doctor said, sure, let's test it out. And fast forward, yeah, that is what it seems to have been, because my blood pressure is back to normal now. But that was a real struggle for me. I was putting on a conference. I was running a business. I was putting on a daily morning show, all without the support that I normally had of this medication. And it's been quite a challenge. Some days I would sit there quite literally in front of my computer and just kind of stare at the monitor. I just had real trouble focusing. Again, full disclosure, my business definitely suffered a bit from this journey that I'm on right now. And thankfully, I had a team that helped keep a lot of it together. I worried constantly that I was going to let everyone down because of all this. And on top of that, like I said earlier, the numbers were still not adding up. And I want to take a second and share with you guys, who's brave enough to share, who has around, say, like 100 to 125 downloads on their podcast on average? Yvonne, okay, several people, thank you. Why not? Stand up for a second if you're sitting down for those people, and because I want you to just do something for a second. Take a look around this room. This is the size of your audience, right? So if you sit there, and you can sit down, thank you. I just wanted you to look to see, because we just see those damn numbers on the screen. And, oh, I only have 100, 120 downloads. But these are real people. They're not numbers. And look at what you can start to do when you have even quote-unquote small numbers. My morning chat is not thousands and thousands of downloads, yet we all came together, said we wanted to do something, and here we are, right? It's pretty powerful. So, the money panic, by the way, that was another issue entirely. I was already imagining how I was going to tell Amy that our new retirement plan was selling friendship bracelets at Etsy. Really good friendship bracelets. But then it hit me. I was falling into the same trap that I warn podcasters about all the time, obsessing over the vanity metrics and what everybody else thinks. The realization changed everything was that, like I said, that example I gave you, the numbers don't define success. Depth does. Connection does. And that is our mission here. And it warmed my heart seeing that stuff happen yesterday. And I can't wait to watch it happen again today. So when I decided to stop pretending and just be authentic, or moist if you prefer, ADHD struggles and all, something changed. The fear didn't vanish, but it stopped running the show. And it really became freeing. It felt really free. Some days, the focus was still there. Just because I was free didn't mean that my ADHD issues had dissipated. The focus was still tough to find. Some days the to-do lists looked like Mount Everest, or maybe longer than an episode of Joe Rogan's podcast. But what saved me wasn't big breakthroughs. It was learning to take the tiniest steps forward. One call, one email, one Xanax. Even when it felt like nothing, those little wins did start adding up. And once I had that momentum, it carried me. That lesson, you don't need to conquer Everest, right? It's just you got to take that small step forward. And then you get to base camp, and then you take the next step, and you take the next step. And you're eventually you've climbed Everest. And I still felt fear, this fear of what's going to happen. Fear that I'd lose focus at the wrong time, fear that I drop the ball. But here's what I learned is that fear isn't proof that you're unqualified. It's proof that you're stretching. And I wasn't seeing that in the moment. I see it today. And so the goal really isn't to erase fear. The goal is to move forward anyway. And I wrote this down too. Fear can ride shotgun if it wants, but it can't touch the playlist. That's the idea. And I think probably still is one of the hardest challenges for me was letting go of perfection. And, here I was thinking that I was getting so much better about it because with podcasting, I didn't have so many of those fears. But it's like, you step into something new, something bigger, grander, and there you are again facing that fear. But when focus is a struggle, it's easy to feel like you're always behind and always falling short. But success to me also isn't about flawless execution. It's not about arbitrary numbers. Success is showing up authentically and making an impact even if it's messy. And I'm sure you'll see some of our mess today, right? And that's okay with me because I'm choosing to focus on everything that's going right. So here's my invitation. Over the next day or so, lean into authenticity. Show up as who you are and be brave enough to connect deeply, even if it's uncomfortable for you. Last year, I told you that you belong here. This year, I say you're becoming here. Becoming the creator that you're meant to be, becoming the voice that your audience needs, and becoming the most authentic version of yourself. So let's step into that together today. Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Thank you. Thanks. Now I'll do my Tony Robbins again. Yeah. I want to take a picture. I want to take a picture with everybody. So, Amy, let me grab your phone since you have it open here. And if everyone could just make sure I just want to do like one of those selfies like Tony Robbins might do. Tony Robbins is shit. Let's see how I do here. I'm going to put the mic down.